everybody, Mike Fifer here with Fifer Hobby Supply. Today we're going to do update 49, and I'm just going to show you a few things that I've done, some meaningless model stuff, and explain to you where we're going next Sunday, and give a shout out to a gentleman here. But instead of me rambling on, let's just get with it. First things first here, I forgot to mention in the intro that I left my other tripod out at the fairgrounds, so some of this is going to be done by shaky cam, so I don't have the pan feature and that kind of stuff on this particular tripod. So anyway, hope you enjoy it, and let's go. Okay, here's the staging area once I finished it. I had put the thin black foam on the outside of it, and I had just painted the foam. But right over in there I had a seam and I didn't really like it very much, so I made some templates and cut out these pieces of masonite and then hot glued the masonite to the foam, and I'm pretty happy with the way it turned out. I took joint compound and filled in the crack along the bottom and then painted everything to match the fascia, and I think it turned out pretty well. I also changed out that bridge. I don't know if I had that changed out before or not, but I like that one because it doesn't obstruct a view of the model kits and so forth there. So that will work as a staging facility. Now I'm going to show you a couple other things. Okay, in this area right here, I started to go in and try to put some of my existing structures from the other layout on. And for the most part, like the T. Leary Chemical and the Woods Furniture Building, they're all way too big for out here. So I'm going to have to probably build new structures for out here. And not sure what I'm going to do with the existing structures. Some will probably go out to the club. But nevertheless, in an effort to fix it so I could use those buildings, the branch line track curves around and goes behind this ice house, which we'll talk about in a second, and comes back in. And then I had a little stub track going in here to the inside, and then the theory was there was going to be a little depot right here. Well, that plan has been changed, and I'm not sure to what. But anyways, I changed all that track, brought it in, made it straight here, and then it just made too many straight longitudinal tracks, and I really didn't care for the look of it at all. So I got frustrated, took all the bigger buildings off, decided that that's just not going to work. Especially in a little community like the one down here at the end. So I have a lot of these orange refrigerator cars like this guy right here. And we have the Schmelly Meats and we have the cattle pens. And I thought, well, we need a place to ice these cars. So here it is. This is a basic, pretty much a basic Walthers ice dock kit. And by the way, what I was leading to there is I put the track back the way it was after I had changed it. So it's all back to kind of where it was. But I did find out that I could put this Walthers ice house in here by doing the ice dock longitudinally along the track there. And second of all, by reducing by about 30% the size of the ice building there. So I cut about 2.5 inches out of the middle of it and the middle of the roof. And then depth-wise, I cut about ½ inch out of it to get it to fit in that area. I'm going to put a little office building or something next to it, and then there'll be a road that goes across the track back there somewhere and joins up with the road that's going to be along the base of the hill over there. So that is the thing with the Walthers ice plant there. You'll also know, besides narrowing it up quite a bit, I did add some extra bracing to the ice dock itself. I also have some other modifications that are going to be made to that. Once I got all the plastic work done, I just did the priming on it, and it'll receive some more detail. As you can see maybe in the picture, right in there, I did cut open one of the doors, and I did put a floor and an inside in there. Not much of an inside, but enough that you can see in there and you can actually see the floor. Which brings us to another thing that I'll show you here. But that's the modifications that I made to the ice plant to get it to fit there. I want to show you one other thing and give thanks to one of my watchers here. Okay, I don't do a lot of shout outs on here and I don't have a lot of people sending me things, but I would like to give a shout out to John Tanzillo. I was looking at his YouTube videos, which I recommend that you should do. And he just got done doing an ice dock, and he had these really cool ice blocks. And if I can get close to the camera here, and if the camera will focus, they've got a real nice look to them. They're much more dramatic in person. As opposed to being just a clear acrylic, these were printed on a 3D printer, on his 3D printer. And it's really cool because they have a light colored inside like ice blocks do, and then kind of more of a shiny outside. They're very realistic looking. I like them a lot. And anyway, I told him, I said, I really like them. I said, one of these days I'm going to need some of those. Well, that one of the day is now, and fortunately he sent them to me, and John, I really appreciate it. So, shout out to John there for sending me the ice blocks. Now let's go take a look at a couple other things that are going on, and I think we're going to go to Shaky Cam. Okay, gang, nothing really new here. You've seen all this. However, one of my subs, I'm sorry, I'm very sorry that I don't remember who it was, but they had sent me they posted on the video that some of the places in their area had trees growing up through the roof. So I think I'm going to take this, since it has an open roof, and I think I'm going to put a tree down inside the building and have the tree growing outside of out the roof. Whether it be dead or not dead remains to be seen. But let me swing around here and show you a little bit more and do some explaining. Okay, as you can see here, I have brought in a lot of houses and buildings. Well, basically houses, a couple of buildings, and I have no clue where they're all going to go yet. I'm thinking I may need to put some Main Street back there and put some businesses on it, and then scatter the houses around a little bit. Not really sure. I just brought the homes that I had. I'm missing 3 mobile homes, the Woodland Scenes mobile homes. They're going to go in there somewhere. These mobile homes over here were the new comp mobile homes, and even though I like them a lot, I think they're a little bit on the large sides for this area. So, and the Woodland Scenics ones are a lot smaller. So anyway, these are just kind of sitting here for me to jockey around at some point in time, get an idea of how much stuff I can put in there. I shortened up this little siding here, and I'm pretty sure that this is where Sierra Madre packing is going to go. And this would be a chili packing plant. So they'll be distributing chili powder, and all kinds of different stuff out of here. That's the intent anyway, or that's my thinking at this moment. You can see that I have a screwdriver tree here. I just stuck the bowling alley back here. I don't know yet if it's going to go there, but there is possibilities that it could go there. If I come back this way, you can see that I have put the box factory in here. I kind of like it there. It would obviously be set up on some up at track level a little better. And then I've got that building that I think you saw in the last video, the Woodland Scenes building, the keg and barrel place, which I would turn into something else, maybe auto parts or something. But those two could go on the same siding, and you'd have to shuffle cars to get them in and out to the appropriate place. And that's about as long as I can make that siding, because I'm trying to save room, as I've said over and over, for a road back here along the base of this mountain, where the train, below where the train's traveling right now. I've got a couple of, well, I think you've seen those in a previous video. I've determined that they're small buildings, but the doorways are HO scale, or they look HO scale. I'm not sure whether I'm going to use those at all. I don't like the doorways. Nevertheless, if I come down this way, what I had done here is I had moved this track over and made it go straight down and connect with that end over there where the that other switch is down there. But joined like that, it would take all the branch line trains right past the yard here, and I just didn't think that really looked cool. So I put the swoop back in it, going to the outside. You can see that I've narrowed up the ice house building. Train will go around the outside of the ice house building. There'll probably be, as I said, an office on this side here, and then a road will come down here and cross over the tracks right down in here probably. Then that other siding takes off, goes around the bend. I have place for some small sidings, maybe even there's a small piece of straight back there, and I may put a ramp on there as a team track. And then I come on down here, and I tried to hug this track in as close as I could to the existing track without having a curve in it. You can see that I have some boxcars parked there right now, and I do have room for a business behind there, and then a road right up against the hill over there. When the road comes down here, there'll be a parking lot right here for the people that go hiking up to the cliff dwellings. And that road will continue on down here where I told you about the red marks on this in front of the feed store down here. So at this moment, that's kind of the basic plan. Not much change from the way it originally was done. But I've always liked ice docks, and let me show you real quick one I had that I was going to try and use here, and I'll tell you why I didn't. Okay, as the old commercial used to say, takes a licking and keeps on ticking. I built this square foot diorama for an NMRA show we had here. It's since taken a beating. All my telephone lines are torn down. I had a guy climbing the pole. The telephone truck was over here. The line was laying on the ground. And it turned out well. And it was to be displayed in our train museum here. Well, the museum got hold of it, and then it got all beat up like this down there, and they never did really put it in a case or anything and leave it there. So I went and got it. I brought it back here, had intentions on using it. Never seen a curved ice dock before, but I'm sure someone had to have one. I was even going to fix it and take it to the convention in Chicago, but I don't have the time. Anyway, this was going to be removed and used up here on the layout, but I couldn't find anything to match that curve, which means I would have had to build a whole new dock anyway. The only thing I could have used is the building, but I chose not to. Just chose to build the Walthers building. So anyway, and here's the Woods furniture, which is way too big for any of the areas. And of course, you remember the T. Leary Chemical, which is a complex that's way too large for here. So those are out. What's in is in. And just let me show you a few more things. I don't recall in the last video if I showed you the chili plants. These came from my mother-in-law's house. Anyway, I got them mounted on the fascia chili plant tiles, the green and red chilies. You can see that my red light is on here, indicating that my little spike is up and holding those 4 cars on the incline. And let me see what else I can think of here, and we'll add it to this video. Okay, some of you may remember the 1/18th Fiat kit that I bought. Finally got it painted. I'm going to let it dry for about a week, but it's going to turn into 2 weeks as we're going to Chicago for the convention. Got that done. If I back up here just a slight bit and take you slowly up here, I just today got these 2 Johann kits. 1931 Cadillac Phaeton and the 1934 Mercedes-Benz 500K. Wasn't really a fan of the Mercedes-Benz kit. I built the chauffeured car of the 31 Cadillac. They make one in red that had a separate, I don't know what they called them, but it was had a separate thing on the back of it where the people rode in, and then your chauffeur had a separate place that he rode in the front. But essentially the same body here. But anyway, I built the kit years ago. Thought I'd like this kit a little bit more. I'll probably build it with the top up, but I am going to build it. Anyway, to get to the story is, when I sent an offer to the guy that was way, way below what that kit should have been. And he accepted, and I thanked him for it very greatly. And he went on to explain to me that a relative of his had had a stroke, and they were taking care of him. I'm not sure if it was his brother or but it was a relative, close relative. So his significant other and he are taking care of the gentleman. The gentleman was he was the model builder, the gentleman who had the stroke. And he was ecstatic to have somebody buy the kits that really appreciated the kits as opposed to just selling them to Joe Blow. That's why he gave it to me at a way reduced price from what it should have been. And then I emailed him back and said, well, I'd really kind of be honored to have the Mercedes-Benz kit as well, if you'd like to cut loose of that. And he made me even a less offer on that. And I got them both shipped together. But anyway, that's all beside the point. But it was gratifying to talk to somebody or communicate back and forth with somebody who was genuinely ecstatic to have someone get the kits who really appreciated them, and I certainly do appreciate them. So I would like to thank John for that. John is the gentleman's name on eBay, but nevertheless, those kits are new. Nothing else really new here. If I think of something before I put the camera away, I'll add it in here. I did remember something, as I always do, after the fact. Two things, actually. One of them is, I don't know if we can see it under here because I have the light off. I added that power strip back there and was able to move my power for my my hill holding, my handbrake up there. I got all that wire tucked away, got the power supply put up there, got that power strip put in so I have some more places to plug anything in. And then you can see some wires hanging down right over there, which I have not put up yet. And I'll tell you why. Because I just finally got this detector fixed, the one that's right there. I had hot glued those in, so I had to heat them up with a hairdryer, pulled them on out of there, which is pretty handy. I might suggest that for mounting things like that, is using hot glue, because you can heat up the hot glue and remove them relatively easily. I got them fixed. I found when I got them out and got them all soldered up like they should have been done in the first place, they worked perfectly, so I stuck them back in there and they worked. What I will say about it is, and I didn't ever think about this, I put them in there at an angle and they kept going off on their own all the time. I thought, what the heck is wrong with this? Well, then it occurred to me, if you put them down below track level, that LED signal is bleeding out the side of those LEDs and is able to detect through the side of the detector. So what was happening is under track level there, they were communicating with each other. So that being said, if you mount any of these in Unitrack and you plan on sinking them down a little bit deeper, I would put a piece of heat shrink tubing around it so that the signal does not leak out the side of them. It's just a tip that I would pass on to you. It drove me crazy for quite some time that I couldn't get it to shut off. It was just continually communicating. The train is coming here, as you can see in the background, and we'll maybe just hang on here long enough to see this thing in operation. Okay, the train is approaching the first set of detectors. You can see that the signal has indeed come on. And I'll turn this off and turn it back on here in a minute when the train gets ready to pass all the way through. Okay, the emitter and detector that are on the other side, the caboose is just about ready to clear that right about now. It's clear of it. We can turn back around. The signal has now turned off. So I did get it working. Yoo-hoo! Okay, everybody. Hope you enjoyed update 49. We'll see you when we get back. And as usual, what do I say? Thanks for watching.